Alright, so in this video we're going to learn how to balance redox equations. And the way to do that is we're basically going to split each of the redox equations into two half equations. We'll balance one of those half equations. We'll balance the other half equation. And then what we have to do is we have to figure out a way to combine those two half equations so that the electrons get eliminated. And we'll see how to do that in the example that is next. So here's the redox equation that we're going to do. So first thing we're going to do is let's figure out what's being oxidized and what's being reduced. So we have copper as an element, so it's got an oxidation number of 0. Oxygen here is -2. It's got an overall charge of -1, so nitrogen must be +5. Copper's +2 here. Oxygen's -2. And so nitrogen has a charge or an oxidation number of +4. So look, nitrogen is being reduced. Copper is being oxidized, so those are our two half reactions. So let's put copper on this side. We'll draw our arrow, leave some space, and we'll put our copper +2 ion on this side. First thing that we need to do is we need to balance the atoms of copper because it's being oxidized. So we have one copper here and we have one copper here. So that's already balanced. Next thing we need to do is we need to balance the oxidation numbers by adding electrons. So over here, copper is 0 and over here it's +2. So when we're adding electrons, we need to get this +2 down to 0. So we're going to add 2 electrons to this side. So now this oxidation number is 2. I'm sorry, this oxidation number is 2 minus 2 is 0. Alright, sorry, I lost my place again. I've been interrupted by my daughter, my wife, and my dog. So let's just go over this. So we have one copper here, one copper here. We added 2 electrons to the product side to balance the oxidation number. So now this is 0 on this side and 0 on this side. Now, we need to balance the charge. It doesn't tell us if this is acidic or basic. So we're going to assume that this is acidic, but this product side has a charge of 0. This side has a charge of 0. So the charges are already balanced. And then we don't have any hydrogens to balance. We don't have any oxygens to balance. So this half reaction is done. So basically it's copper produces copper +2 electrons. So now let's go to the next half reaction. So we have a nitrate ion produces nitrogen dioxide. So we have one nitrogen here, we have one nitrogen there, so that is balanced. Next thing we need to do is we need to balance the oxidation numbers. So remember this was +5 and this is +4. So we're going to need to add an electron to this side. And now this side will have an oxidation of +4. This side will have an oxidation number of +4. So we've balanced the oxidation numbers. Let me erase these so we don't get mixed up. And get my pen back. Alright, once we do that, we need to balance the charge. So our reactant side has a charge of -2. our product side has a charge of 0. So since this is in an acid, we're going to balance the charges with hydrogen ions, with H+. So the product side is 0, this is -2, so we're going to add 2 hydrogens to this side, and that's going to bring this charge up to 0. So now we have the same charges on both sides, which are 0. Alright, and then the next thing we need to do is, in order to balance the hydrogens, we're going to use water. So we have 2 hydrogens on the reactant side, so we need to add 1 water to the product side to balance that hydrogen. So 2 hydrogens, and then we need to make sure that the oxygens are balanced. And if we've done this right, the oxygen will be balanced. So we have 3 oxygens on the reactant side, 2 + 1, 3 oxygens on the product side. So we have 2 balanced half equations. Now, we need to get the electrons to cancel out. And if you look, we have 2 electrons on the product side here. We have 1 electron on the reactant side here. So in order to get 2 electrons so this cancels out, we're going to multiply this whole equation by 2. And so we will end up with, we'll have 4 hydrogens plus 2 nitrates plus copper plus 2 electrons yields 2 nitrogen dioxides plus 2 waters plus we have a copper plus 2 plus 2 electrons. And then we have 2 electrons on each side, so they cancel out. And so we're left with our redox equation right here. Let me just go ahead and erase that so we don't have to worry about that. So we end up with 4 hydrogen ions plus 2 nitrates plus copper produces 2 nitrogen dioxides plus 2 waters plus copper plus 2. And this is our balanced redox equations. And that's how you balance redox equations. And I'll do a couple more example problems for you also. And hopefully I'll get better at this and I won't have interruptions and make as many simple mistakes as I'm making the video. But hopefully you get it, and this takes practice, and when you practice enough, you'll get good at it.